So today we're going to have a busy interactive session, and I want to get this started off. I send you my pen with some of the products that you use and you find to be helpful. I know we had last week somebody shared. Let's see what that was. Somebody shared, was it Our World and the Beaches MLS? Anybody know what that is? They said they took a webinar.
Well, that's for South Florida. The Our Worlds and Beaches MLS is what we use.
And what? So our World is just a log-on.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's lots of resources within Our World that you can go into different links, be it RPR and the MLS Advantage, which is the all of Florida MLS. Well, probably about 90% of the MLS in Florida, a back end to search other areas than the South Florida marketplace.
Okay. And what do you use a lot of the resources on there, James?
I've used MLS Advantage as a search engine for property in other counties in Florida. At this point, not as much, because I do have a membership at another MLS that gives me 19 additional counties for searching for properties. So
yeah, we have RPR too. RPR's part of our beaches, which is real good.
Yeah, RPR is a great tool to use, and it's got Remine.
You can also get all the statistics every month on beaches. So that's correct. Very helpful if you're doing a market report that you're sending out or sharing that information with your clients.
Cool. So do you have Remine? You don't have Remine in Florida, right?
We do.
You do?
Yeah.
And do you use that a lot, or?
I don't. I used to. I need to.
Some agents use it. You know, some agents use it, but it's not a it's not a heavily used product. We have the RedX, which you guys provided for our agents here, which I'm going to give another class on again this week.
Okay.
Just to jump in with regard to Remine,
dispose and expires.
Yeah, Rob?
Remine is having some technical difficulties they were just purchased by another company, and their data is not what it was a year ago. It's suffering a little bit, and it may not be long for this world, from what I understand from my sources.
And
I know Central Jersey's looking at other products.
And since the was it Daniel's Law in New Jersey, if you want to look up a property, anybody, where do you go? Because I used to be all over the njactb.org. That's New Jersey Association of County Tax Boards. And now, since they had that judge that had a murder at her house, they've blocked off all that data, and you have to log into the MLS and go into the tax report to look something up. Is there a more efficient way that anybody's doing that?
You can actually access that same page that you got through New Jersey ACB through, I'll share the link. I got it through the tax assessor's website. It actually has a link that you can go on there, and it takes you to all the counties in New Jersey. That page where you could choose all the counties, put the lot and block and the address, and it'll give you all the information like New Jersey ACB used to get.
Okay, so it's a different site, so that would be great.
It's a different site, but it redirects you to the same page.
We have a incredible tool in Florida. It's called MLS Touch. It's on you can load it onto your phone. You go to the App Store and load it on, and then it asks you which MLS you belong to. But it is a search platform, but it gives you everything. I mean, everything. You can get to Realist from it. It gives you all the financials. Let's say you've got a property and you want to know if there's an additional membership fee. It will give you that. It will give you the amount. It's just a worth of information, and I've been teaching it to the agents here, and they're amazed. And it's a free tool.
So Peter, can you put that in the chat for the NJ Act B substitute? And then what do you use Realtis for, Colleen?
Realist gives you everything, taxes, history, just everything about the property.
Is it REALIST or RE?
To tell you the truth, I'm not. Go ahead.
If you want to take a second, Colleen, look it up and then put it in the chat.
Okay, no problem.
That was Rob Durso?
Yeah, Rob, we get that through CJMLS also. They have a link right on the website.
To Realtis, right?
For Realist, yeah.
So does NJMLS and Garden State, I believe.
All right, let me go.
Right.
All right, so TJ, can you see the screen or you don't see what I'm doing?
I can see it.
Okay, so if I go to New Jersey MLS, and I apologize for those of you who New Jersey MLS, why is it blocking me out? Do we have access on GSMLS?
I believe so. I'm not sure. I haven't used it in a while.
All right.
Hey, Rob, when you get a chance, click on the link in the chat and see if it redirects you to that page.
All right. Oh yeah, cool. That's awesome, man. So I'm going to put this out to everybody. Peter,
Yeah,
thank you.
Rob, that website,
Yeah.
that website does all counties except Ocean County. So you have to go to the Ocean County tax record, look up taxes, because I do the same thing.
Is there a direct link to Ocean?
I do have it saved, so let me copy it and then I'll paste it.
Put it in the chat. Yep. Let's see, Colleen, what's the difference between Realist and IMAP? So here's something that I think most of the MLSs have, and I'm going to put this question out to Florida, okay? In New Jersey, we have these reports. You can go to, see if somebody keeps logging me out. I can go to NJR municipal stats. I can do 2022 December, and I can pick a county, Essex County, and then I can go and I believe I can even pick a town, and it will give me this pretty cool report that you don't need to do anything to have. Tells you new listings, year to date, closed sales, days on market. Does everybody know how to get this?
That's the first time I've seen it. Thank you, Rob.
All right. And I think this is really an awesome resource where you don't have to do any work. Do we have something like this in Florida?
I know we have it by month and county. I haven't found it by city, but I haven't looked, so it may be there.
So that would be something that you could use in your listing conversation or your buyer conversations. I think that's pretty relevant. So that was Scott Kaplan, right?
Yes, sir.
So Scott, if you know how to find that, if you can just share that with me, if it's before the call, I'll put it up. If not, we can do it later.
Yep.
We also have like these reports where you have absorption rates. Okay, you can run those. You can go back 6 months and whatnot. I think it's maybe a little bit much for the clients, but it's good for us to understand what's happening in our markets.
Rob, I put the link in for Realist for Florida.
All right, let me put that up there.
We can also break it into city.
for NJMLS, when you get to the main page on the right-hand side on the bottom, you'll see multiple different pages, and it says custom pages. Right there is a direct link for a realist.
Okay, what I'm doing is I'm putting the link here. You can put the information if you want directly onto the sheet here if you have it, or you can put it into the chat and then I'll add it.
You also have the Ocean County in the chat.
Okay. Maurice, can you put that onto the sheet here underneath the resource from NAR so I can keep moving?
Yes, sir.
Anybody ever heard of this thing, Relola? Anybody? Can you guys still hear me?
I can hear you.
Yes, sir, we hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
So that was something I heard people talking about on one of Tom Ferry's podcasts, and they were saying that they post local and property information on here through their social media sites. That's not my strong suit, but it does say it's a NAR product. So I'm surprised nobody ever heard of that, but I have it on my list here. NARRPR. If anybody doesn't know what that is it gives you the ability, you have to connect it with your
Rob, that sheet is only read only.
It is?
Yeah, so I just sent it to you with my request. I sent you the website.
Anyone with link can be an editor. Done. Can you see if you can edit it now? So NARRPR, obviously I haven't been on there for a little while, but that I have all the different MLSs connected. I'm a member of 5 or 6 MLSs, and it also gives you stuff on commercial property. So if you haven't set up your NARRPR, you can set it up, and it can be a quasi CMA. Anybody use NARRPR as a CMA?
I have in the past.
Who's that?
Shante.
Okay, Shante.
Hey, Rob. Oh,
Yes.
Eric here. I use it all the time.
Okay. And you customized it to have your own brand and ReMax on it, right?
Yes.
Perfect. So NARRPR, who's using YouTube Reels? And is anybody having success with that?
I've used it a few times, but you can actually link them up from multiple sites too as the reels. So if you want to make a YouTube reel and you want to do it multiple times, go to Canva. If that makes sense. I'll explain to more detail if you want me to.
Is everybody, I'm very familiar with Canva, but I just have my my VA do everything in Canva. That's Fred. He's expert at it. I understand it's relatively easy to do. Our awards that we did for New Jersey, and I think we're in the process of doing them for our team in Florida. If you made like ReMax 100% Club, we'll be getting a social media recognition out there that was done through Canva, I believe. So FSBO expired, circle prospecting. Circle prospecting, you have no excuse not to do that because it is included in your association with ReMax Select Group. We have a subscription to Cole Realty Resources, and I believe it's not user sensitive. So if I'm logged in, Scott Kaplan can also log in, and so can Eric Pruitt without it kicking us out. Okay, and it's a pretty cool tool. It's included, and who knows how you can find out how to get to it and log into it.
Rob, refresh the page. I've added it to it.
I see it
I
there.
think
Yep.
it's on the hub, Rob.
Yep. So in New Jersey, it's hub dot, I think it's goselectgroup.com. And in Florida, I think it's info.rsg.net, I believe. Let me
Got a
just see if
typo
those
there.
work.
Hub, not hug.
Oh, I'll fix that. Let's make this into a link.
Hey, Rob, while you're typing that out, can I go back on something really quick that you mentioned?
Absolutely.
So I was the agent that had mentioned Our World last week, because in Our World, you can go in and look at videos about all the different resources that are in Beaches MLS. And that's where I looked at all the webinars. So there was one particular webinar that I did that went through every single button in Beaches MLS and what the resources are that are available. So I literally have a list of like Photofy, CoreLogic, Athenasign, RPR, and what each of those buttons do and how they can, how you can use them in your business. So that's in Our World. Okay, so that's one thing I wanted to mention. And what is also there's a really good video webinar that talks about all the things that you can do with RPR. So since you mentioned RPR, if you want to go through a video, it's probably like 25 minutes long, and it goes through all the different ways that you can use RPR. I just want to mention that.
Okay, that's awesome. Let me just see if these links here are correct. Hub.rsg.info is Florida. And hub.go ReMax Select are the two hubs that we have. You just correct that. rsginfo.net. Let me fix that. RSG for ReMax Select Group, information.net for our Florida team, and hub.go-remaxselect.com for New Jersey. To get access to a lot of this information, you go down to agent tools, and Cole has the name ReMax Sales Password Select Group. You click on it and it will take you to it. And there you go, your login. And this tool, it says some really pretty cool things. Now, who's used Cole Realty extensively? I'm gonna bet Eric has, but maybe not. Eric Pruitt.
I have.
Yeah, so compared to the alternative.
Who said I have?
It's me, Rob. He did.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm gonna meet you up here later, but then I decided I was up, so come on in.
Let's see here. Let's see. This is our Westfield office. House number. So you got to put the number, the street, city, state, and we have this for New Jersey and Florida. I'm sorry, no New York. List of all records.
Sometimes it's easier if you don't put the street number in, and it'll pull up that street.
Yeah, let's see here. You got it. Okay, so like I can take, oh, because they have South Elmer. So I could take like this one here, right? And then you can do a radius search, a street search, or a map search. I love the map search feature. And you could do free-form plotting. So like I know if I wanted to find all the properties between Chestnut, Broad, and North Avenue, I can just free-form put a plot here. I put a plot here, and I put a plot here. And then I go view available prospects. And I can download to the computer. I can export it. For some reason it says 0. Let me see what I did wrong.
Is that a heavy commercial area? Because it won't, a lot of times it won't pull commercial property.
Yeah, but there's enough residential. But anyway, I don't want to waste time, but you can easily, I've never had problems with it before. You can go in and you can do like if you're doing an open house or you get a new listing, like you can get all the addresses by you're just dropping 4 or 5 pins and then hitting search results. Okay.
Rob, I have a question on that. If you go back to where you first found that search,
yes,
there were very few phone numbers there.
It's not the best for phone numbers, Eric.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
But Eric, if you give me I don't know if it's like that in Florida.
It is like that in Florida because I use Mojo, and for $50, Mojo gives you the property search with the phone numbers, and it seems to be a lot better than Cole.
There's also one that we have linked, or used to, I don't know if we still do, on the hub called True People Search, I believe it was, or True People Find, or something like that. It's free, and from my use, it's been pretty accurate.
So what's it called?
I believe it's True People Search. It was linked on the hub at one point. I don't know if it's still there, but it's been pretty easy.
Okay, it's for stalking people, right?
Yeah, yeah, address and phone numbers.
So Canva, let's see. Does anybody use like obviously we're going to be getting KV Core, which I think is one of the leading industry CRMs. I don't know if we have if Mr. Glenn Baker's on or not, but that's one that I think is gives you a lot of flexibility, a lot of resources to use, and sometimes can be a little bit on the confusing side. So we need to invest in learning and mastering it. Does anybody else use like Follow Up Boss or any other CRMs that they love?
I've been using LionDesk, but I'm leaving for Follow Up Boss.
And LionDesk to changing to Follow Up Boss.
Yeah, LionDesk used to be great, and then Lone Wolf bought them, the original guy that set it up, and it's kind of gone downhill ever since. So I'm out. I'm moving to Follow Up Boss.
Now, Follow Up Boss does that give you the ability to integrate with an MLS or no, like an IDX?
I haven't gotten that far into it yet. I'm not sure.
So I have a buddy of mine, Andrew Dorn, who used to be at realtor.com, is at Follow Up Boss. And if you have any questions, I think he's pretty high up there on the marketing side, might be the top guy. Any other CRMs that you were in love with?
Top producer.
Oh my God, that's
we're giving our age there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've been using it for 40 years. You can text on it now.
I was going to say, have they finally upgraded it? I used it for years.
Well, I use Top Producer as well, and they converted us over to the online version now. And there's only one problem with that. It cannot do mass mail outs on letters.
Okay. All right.
You will be able
While
to
you
do
have
that
this-
with KV Core.
While you have this open here, the mass mail out, I'm looking for some kind of software product for mass mail outs that I can keep track of when I send letters out to like expireds on a repetitive basis. Does anybody have software that is doable like that?
Wouldn't some of the mail houses have that type of software that you create an account on?
I was just looking for something a little old school, like Top Producer, you know?
Now, I think Lori used Express Copy. I think it's XPRES copy. I'm not sure if that's how you spell it for mailing. What do we use for mailing?
Usually Express Docs.
It's Express Docs. Is it
Yeah.
EXP or is it XPRESS?
X.
Let's see, I'll figure it out. Yeah. I think it's Express Docs. Express. Okay. Anybody else have anything they use for mailing that you want to share?
By
BDD.
referral only.
What's that?
By referral only, Joe Stump.
They do mailing?
Yes.
And Vistaprint and Canva both do printing too, and mailing.
And Wise Pelican, Rob?
That's Glenn, right?
Correct.
PELICAN.com. Now, Glenn, your only database is KV Core, or do you use something else for managing your database?
Just KV Core.
Okay. And what's the biggest limitation to it, being a power user?
I have 26,000 people in it, so speed sometimes is an issue. Otherwise, just quirkiness. I mean, the functionality is there, just quirkiness.
Okay.
Hey, Rob, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Scott, so from one of these masterminds, we just used the Express Docs actually last week. It was really awesome for getting out of the mailer. But my question, does anybody have one of these Express ones that I could upload my design that I normally use for postcards for the last 5 years to be able to fill in my own blanks?
I'm sorry. So Express Docs doesn't have the ability to do that?
Not that I know of. Like we made, we filled in the pictures and the info that we wanted for their postcard to be sent out. But like I have a color and a style that I've used for years so people recognize our logo and who we are. And I'm curious if they have it and we didn't see it, then I need to call them.
I think you have to call them and make arrangements. There's an additional fee to do your own personalized card.
Okay.
They used to do it. I don't know if they're still doing it.
Okay.
But yeah, they used to do it.
Okay.
I've given them a Canva document to send out. I thought that was an option online. I did it a couple of months ago. I can't say exactly how you do it now, but I'm sure it was an option when I did it online. So I just gave them my doc, and I don't recall being charged extra.
Oh,
White
that's good.
Skeleton has that feature too, to be able to create your own design. They'll set it up once and then you can keep mailing it. This is Davika.
Okay. And what company was that, Davika?
It's Wise Pelican,
Okay.
out of Arizona. It's up there.
Now, how about texting services? Glenn, do you text exclusively through KV Core, or do you have a separate service as well?
We use KV Core, and I have someone that does using Go High Level on our behalf as well.
You can also, depending on the level of Ring Central you have, you can use that as well for texting.
Okay.
Can you pictures through Ring Central? This is Janet Lissette, by the way. So.
I believe you can. It's been a long time since I've used it that way. I was at a previous industry, but I believe you were able to, yes.
So for our KV Core users, and I do use KV Core, but I found one of the limitations on texting is that you cannot include an image. Do we know if we're going to eventually receive that option? Because that's a huge limitation.
When you text through KV Core app, it lets you put a picture. I've been doing that a lot this last week. And you
Through the
can have
app?
links to your listing.
Yeah, I see that you can do a listing, but I've not been able to do an image, but I've been using on the computer. I've not tried it on the app. I didn't know it was an option. So who's this? Just in
This is
case I have
Scott.
to check.
Scott Kaplan, and I know on the computer, if you put the MLS number, it'll bring in the first picture of the
Yep,
MLS.
I've seen that. And I thought that was the only thing that you could send, the only image you could send. But if you can send like images from your phone, because I typically do a CMA once a month for my farm, and I email that, but I would love to text that out.
So, you want to text out an entire CMA?
Well, I do my CMAs, Rob, on Canva. So I take the data and I just put it on like a flyer in Canva that I've created. And I usually post that on my social media, but I would also like to send it via text because people just look at text more often than they even do emails.
Yeah, are you able to text that as like a link to maybe like a Google document or some sort of where it's, housed somewhere else?
I don't know. I've not tried it as a link.
About-
But if there's someone that can walk me through that to make that easier. I love an image, but if there's another option, I'm open to whatever the option is so that it enhances my ability.
Has anyone tried doing a video CMA with your past customers? Like on BombBomb?
Yeah.
I have.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess KB Core gives us, what is it, 10 videos I think we could do a month for free, and then you have to pay for them.
Yeah, it's an upcharge like $30, but you got to have the program on BombBomb that allows for you to do all the additional. And that's a separate billing.
Yeah. Yeah, so Rob, I mean, I think those are great tools in KV Core. I've asked Maria, the team here, now that we're going, we're using KV Core on such a large scale, meaning, all of ReMax, do we have any leverage to negotiate and get these so that it's not an additional charge? Because 10 goes very quickly and $30 a month adds up very fast.
So, but now, Glenn, you have the BombBomb integration on KV Core, or is that separate is that the same as the standalone, or you have to do it twice?
No, unless you're going to use the templates that come with BombBomb through the full app, it's a better deal and more useful for most to use the actual $30 through KV Core. You can still use their website, but it has limited functionality.
Okay, because I believe if you wanted to get BombBomb, you can do it through, we have a corporate account that I've held on for many, many years and didn't use for a while, just so I got the grandfather pricing. I believe we can still add you to the regular BombBomb for $25 or $29 a month. If you wanted to do that, or if the KV Core one works, that's probably going to be sufficient, because you sent me your BombBombs through the KV Core, Glenn.
No, that was through the Google Gmail plugin.
Or for BombBomb though, right?
Yeah, so when you buy KV Core's BombBomb, you can still use the Gmail plugin for it and do it outside of KV Core.
Right, but you still have to pay $30 a month.
You do.
Yeah, so I guess, yeah, I know that's an option, and I guess I'm just also asking, do we have any negotiating power while we're at this stage with KV Core to see if we can negotiate that down, because it just gets costly.
No, the answer is no. I've done numerous calls on it. My name's Jim, and I've talked to all different people on it, and they're not going to budge. No one is.
Yeah, so I guess you can look at it two ways, Janet. One is you spend the $30 and you feel a little guilty not using it, so you'll max it out,
Absolutely.
And I know these little charges are like a death of 1,000 paper cuts on expenses, but if you go all in and you use it, then it's worth it. If you're not using it, it's a unnecessary expense.
Agree.
In terms of things that would be a high priority is, I think sellers don't understand the value proposition of working with an agent. Does anybody agree with that statement, or who disagrees heavily with that?
100% agree.
So, and they think they think whatever the fee is, it's the same if I go to Keller Williams, Coldwell Banker, ReMax, and if I go to TJ, Glenn, or Rob, it's all the same. It's just, what's the fee? And we do a very, very poor job at differentiating the value proposition. And I think a way that we could, start to break that pattern is to have a high quality pre-listing package. And I think if you're really aggressive with this, you can do, there's like a $35 like disposable tablet that you can use that incorporates video. And I'd have to look up where you can get them for. It might even be less if you buy them in bulk. And if you drop that off, you say, hey, do you mind if I just, drop off my pre-listing or my pre-appointment material? And then you have an excuse to come get it because they're not going to throw that away. It looks like a small iPad. Or just having a high quality pre-appointment book to identify what we do, because people don't understand everything that goes into marketing a property for maximum value. And does anybody have an effective pre-listing book that you use consistently? On this call, we have almost 60 people.
What about sending like a video of what you do to the client?
I mean, I'm not opposed to that strategy, but somehow I think having something tangible that they get that you have to go pick back up, and
it's funny you ask. So Rob, I have a one that's done for the ReMax collection, which is in book form. Production cost is about $40 a book. And so it's tough because you don't want to leave them because they are expensive. And some sellers, when they're interviewing, they're like, well, I want to keep it. Like, it's tough to leave a $40 book when someone's reading a $2 piece of paper that they went to Office Depot and printed, when you're competing. And you want to be nice about asking for it back.
What about putting it on a QR code?
I personally deliver email PDF most of the time. I bring it on listing appointments as well. Like I put a little folder together, but I'm most of the time putting it on a PDF and emailing it and saying, hey, can you take a look at this? Glance through it before the appointment, and I think it's just as effective as bringing it to them.
But you the core present, because you can email them the full presentation and it will actually update as the properties close as well. So you have a reason to call them back if you keep an eye on those properties to let them know, hey, double check that. You can see the updated pricing.
So question, then, when you guys, based on the last two ones, when you email them basically your presentation before you go over there, what's the percentage of people canceling?
So that was Maurice?
Yes.
So Maurice, it's not the material in their specific home. It's the
I'm sorry.
Principal.
I can't hear you, Rob.
So it's not the material for the listing conversation of their home. Like, hey, here's what I think your value is. Here's the different ways that we can position it. It's more about the generic tasks that are done to promote a property, right? Which most sellers have no idea.
That's true. I don't include a CMA with it. I don't deliver that with the pre-listing package. The pre-listing package is like testimonials, a little bit about my marketing, a little bit about me, just kind of the basic, like, here's my background, and then we get into the details. I try real hard not to send CMAs to people. It's you got to be there to kind of walk them through it, you know. So I don't send any of that, like those super detailed property specific stuff. That doesn't go with the pre-listing package.
I mean, somebody might, you know, buy a listing and you don't have an opportunity to present in person if your numbers aren't where they expect them to be, in my opinion. Does anybody have, like, I remember a couple of times there was a software program where you opened it up and it looked like a virtual book and you click on it and you hear like the flipping page concept. Anybody use anything like that?
I did, but I got rid of it, Rob. It was called Studio.
Yeah, years ago.
What was it called?
Studio. They made storybooks that were online, essentially.
Okay. But you didn't like that. So we did text marketing. So open houses. I would like to see, you know, open houses where perhaps we have a QR code that we can give somebody to scan, and it gives them on their phone all the competing comp properties. I'm going to mute everybody, and then you unmute yourself when you want to talk. Got a lot of background noise. So years ago, I saw some of the more progressive agents would have, hey, welcome to my house at 1 Main Street, Cranford. You know, take a walk through. If you want to check out some of the competing properties, here are the other properties that are on the market. If you want to drive by, if you're interested, let me know. And you might say, why am I doing that? And I think the public is going to find them anyway, so why not? You know, showing that you have a little bit of a technology prowess where you can give them a QR code instead of printing out reams of paper for people who may or may not show up and may or may not pick it up, I think would be really helpful. If that could be a way of capturing their contact info as well, more power to us. Anybody anybody ever do that? Anybody like or hate the idea?
Roberts Maurice, I had a QR code with my open houses that has my website. When agents come in there with their clients, a lot of clients try to take pictures of it. And I stopped them. Should I?
You mean, should you stop agents, you know, buyers working with co-ops from going to your website?
Yeah.
I don't know why you'd want to do that. I wouldn't stop them.
Okay.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Half the agents that come to look at houses don't even print out the information for their clients. So I would like to have it there and give it to them.
No, I mean, like, Scott, I think we'd want to have the stuff on our particular property, but let's just say, you know, somebody comes there without an agent. They say, hey, you know, this one seems pretty good. You know, how long you been looking? Oh, it's our second weekend. Well, if you scan here, here's some similar properties that you might want to take a look at. If you're interested in any of them, you can feel free to call me.
No, I love it. And we've been working on QR codes. I know ReMax has a converter and we've been creating them. The tracking is the one thing that you said that I'm not sure how to do yet, but I think it's that people like it. Everyone's got their phone, they're used to it. And then you get your information in their hand, where a piece of paper, they do generally fold up and put it in their pocket, it's gone. But the tracking part of the QR code, to not just give them the information, but get information, that's key if anybody knows how to do that.
Okay.
And Rob, if I could make a suggestion too, for anyone that's using KV Core, we completely got away from giving out paper, and we require, when I say require, meaning we require, because we set that tone with our sellers to say, we will have everyone register who comes into your home as a security measure. So the sellers are on board. And when people come in the front door, they hit a kiosk, they key in the information, their information, and it immediately texts them back. If you had a template built in KV Core, you could send them all of the listings that are in the area along with all of the property information, and you don't have to do a thing. It's all automatic.
Does that use a QR code, or is it a text?
No, because the QR code is a one-way dialogue, right? I want their information. I want to be able to syndicate to them, not hope that they reach out to me. So we force them to put in their name, address, and phone number, and they text them back immediately while they're standing in front of you. So you say, hey, I just want to make sure, did you get that on your phone? and they'll say, oh yeah, or no. If they say no, I'll go, maybe you put the wrong information in. Let's give it another try.
And how do you do that, Glenn?
KV Core. So if
That's
you
the
use
core
open
open
house
house, isn't it, Glenn?
It is, but you have to set up a campaign on the background to do the auto responders.
Right.
And you can use it again and again. And the properties, you can use evergreen links in KV Core. So if you put the link there once and you run an open house 3 weekends, the properties will always be current because it's using that evergreen link in KV Core.
Okay. When they
and then you have their
register,
info.
when they register on the open house app on KV Core, it goes right into the CRM system, so you can set that up ahead of time to do that auto response.
Yeah. One comment on the autoresponder though, please modify it to your personalities. Don't let the KV Core standard one go out there, because then you'll look like every other agent in the area, and everyone's more unique than that.
Yep.
So could I recruit some volunteers for next Monday for the series? Because this is something I think is massively a massive opportunity to do the perfect open house. Like, and I don't mean, you know, the door knocking and everything else, but I mean like the QR code, the material that goes out. Let's go through and dissect that and present it. Do I have anybody that wants to volunteer and help us present that on Monday? No volunteers.
Give a hand.
I mean,
I'll give a hand.
I thought I run a good open house, Rob, but then like what Glenn was saying with the sign in, that's a better way to do it. I'm going to try and set that up with the KV Core.
So Rob, I'm going to kind of put not so much you, but on the back end, who's setting up the KV Core on the spot. Sorry to do this. The back end currently, I don't know when we're going to switch over to the ReMax KV Core system, as opposed to using the KV Core through Select.
Sure.
Because it changes the privacy levels on the back end. The way it's set up right now, I do not feel comfortable putting people in, to be honest, because it's an open book and everyone on the admin side back end has access because it's not checked off private. So to put my personal leads in a system that someone else has access to is very problematic, and it's an easy fix on the back end. Sorry to put you on the spot.
So Glenn, do we have that set up where admins have access to your data?
Anyone that sits above us will always have access to the data.
And that's not the way it's going to be with the ReMax program.
All right.
With the ReMax program, if a lead comes in from ReMax Select, yes, the admins have access. If I put my database in, that we can mark it as private and no one can go in and look at our information.
I mean, that is truly ReMax culture, Jim, where it's your leads, because, you know, we're a business where, you know, we're designed to support your business, and your leads are your leads, your listings are your listings if you leave. Like, so I'll look into making sure that we have that structure set up appropriately, because I didn't think that we could see, like, if you paid for your own Zillow leads, I don't think we have visibility to it. I know early on we didn't.
Yeah, they do. I've been doing a lot of homework on it. Sorry.
Okay. Well, it's not anything that we culturally want to have access to, Jim. So if it's something that's like that, we don't say, hey, we're going to take Jim's leads under any circumstance. So as we roll this out, I'm going to talk to our rollout team on our side, which is led by Fred, to make sure that we have that covered appropriately for you.
Right. And I'm talking about currently now with KV Core through the company. Now, ReMax, again, ReMax International, it's private. It's already set up that way.
Perfect. So that sounds like that solution is maybe even a done deal. So it might not be much work for me. Anything else that that you use or utilize that you want to share with your peers before we lose the remaining 9 minutes of our session?
Rob, can you just clarify? You had asked, can we set up a QR code to share surrounding listings. I know Glenn said, we got into the conversation about open house, but Glenn, Rob, is there a way to do that in KV Core?
So I'm not sure if it's in KV Core, but I'm going to work with Glenn, Scott, Fred, and anybody else that wants to volunteer to try to figure out how to do that.
Okay.
So we can create a QR code. Hopefully it's at one of the ReMax ones. Hopefully it has good tracking capability. And if we are unsuccessful, we're going to try and figure it out. Because I had 2 agents in one office in Westfield call me up and they needed help with the abundance of offers that they received from their listings. They did Saturday and Sunday open houses. Both of them had more than 80 people. One had over 100 people through in 2 days to their open house.
Awesome.
They both have between 7 and 12 offers, and they're telling everybody highest and best is due by Tuesday or Wednesday. So something's brewing out there. The one listing, they thought that they priced it, a bit aggressively high on the high side, and they already have significantly over ask price on it. And the other one, they priced it very much auction style, and they're north of 10% above asking price already. So I think that this open house, perfecting an open house strategy, if we can, to in a process that we can share it with everybody, it's going to have a huge benefit. Meeting people in person as opposed to calling them, emailing them is just a higher level of interaction and communication that I want to leverage and take advantage of. Probably on the first 2 months, I want to work on this pre-listing book is another thing, because I think we need to find a solution to account for the inventory shortage. Other things that come to mind for me would be, embracing the CMA a day concept to your sphere. And another idea that I saw was, what was it? It was like a, I quote it right. Let me see if I have it here. It was a annual property report where you would talk about like what the equity in their home is. Let me see if I can find that. I think I saw it here. Or that Tom Ferry annual equity review. I love that. Anybody, does that resonate with anybody on this call?
Yeah, we send out from KV Core automatic anniversary messages that congratulate them on their anniversary and say, hey, it's time for your annual equity review. And that's an automatic email from KV Core that does it for us.
And Glenn, is that for them to reach out to you or you to schedule for them?
Bomb video that goes out to them, and it seems like it's for them. So they'll reach out to you, and you'll know if they saw it, obviously, because of bomb tracking.
Now, who gets a B+ or better at keeping in touch with their their sphere of influence and previous clients?
Touching every month, calling, not so good, but touch them with something in the mail every month.
But how about if I put together a list of topics that, reasons to call people? I mean, it can be, obviously if you built up like a list of birthdays, anniversaries, or house diversities, anniversaries, like when they bought their house, life events, right? Holidays.
So that goes back to your CRM and making sure everything on your data is up to date.
Right, and that looks a lot like work, doesn't it, Jim?
It is.
And I have a secret way that you can get all this information. Like, a lot of times people ask, how do you find people's birthdays? I have the secret solution, and it's not a website. Call them and ask them.
Yeah.
It's an amazing, it's an amazing
The
process.
hardest part of the CRM is getting everything in. Once you have it in, and then it starts to work different.
So does anybody have a technique for getting somebody's birthday when you call?
We actually look it up on the back.
Just look at their driver's license in the beginning of the process.
Ask for that closing.
Closing, because making ID copies.
Well, don't most people's Facebook pages have their birthday on it? Not the year, but their date. A lot of them.
Yeah, they're not always correct.
But maybe
change that.
maybe you might call and just say, "Oh, Jim, I just celebrated a milestone birthday. Where did the time go? By the way, when's your birthday?"
Oh, absolutely.
Like you can have a way of doing it where it's not like, "Hey, can I see your driver's license?" No, Maurice, I'm not giving you a hard time. Understand? Like once they're already in, it's kind of like gets to be a weird space where you have to pick that up.
What about just asking, what is your birthday? And they're asking why, you say, because I would like to send you a Christmas birthday card.
That's what I do. I just ask them, when they're, would you mind giving us your birthday? So we'd like to keep in touch with you and send you out gifts. If you say a gift, they'll be very open to give it to you. So, I never have a problem with it. And a title company that I use usually gives me the information I need if I forget.
So
Hey, Rob,
I love the
Rob,
annual equity review. Yes.
One other quick tool on the back end in ReMax is the shortener. So when you do a video, let's say a YouTube video, and you go to send it to someone, it's really long and drawn out and too much to type, you can take that and get a shortener right in the back end of ReMax.
That's rem.ax, right? The
Yeah,
URL,
the
right?
ReMax.net. So it's a shortener device. So instead of having the long drawn out messages, you can do it. You did a video on YouTube and it's for 123 Main Street. You can put in 123 Main Street. And then that's the link you're going to send out to people instead of the long drawn out. That's a great tool.
Yep. And I might have said this, I did our team leader meeting, so I don't know if I'm being repetitive or if I forgot something. Update, make sure your profiles, especially your Zillow, are up to date. Google My Business. We talked a little bit this morning about the AI tool. And Glenn, what is the AI tool called? It's
Chat.
You're talking about the first app?
Chat
No.
GPT.
Chat GPT.
Yeah, just keep in mind that automated is great, but if it doesn't represent how you talk, people will see right through that. They'll know. I think people get hung up. I used it a bit and I was like pretty unimpressed with it. It's a chat, it's the shiny moment, right? This shiny object that everyone's on right now, but just be sure that you're you. That's what sells you, right?
Yep. So
I have two others that I use pretty regularly. HomeBot AI is one. Every single client gets on it.
What do you use that for?
It's an automatic CMA once a month, but it gives it out in a really cool email digest. And you can set the CMA starting point amount. So when they close their house, obviously we know we've got a good number for the market, and then it will adjust in the background for them. But it's a really slick email that goes out to them. And the engagement level, 98% of my clients stay on it, and most of them view it 3 to 10 times a month. It's like a brokerage statement for your house.
What's the cost for that?
$25 a month.
And unlimited, right?
Yeah, 500. You can do 500 clients.
Okay, and so that's a cool one. You said you had two of them, Glenn, or just that?
Yeah, the second is KV Core's voicemail drop. I know that a lot of things are out there like voicemail drop cowboy and others. And how you use them is the key to voicemail drops. A lot of people get a bad taste in their mouth, but if you use it, rather than going home and sitting after your open house and trying to call 80 people, you can either send a bomb or a voicemail drop and say, "Oh, hey, sorry I missed you. I was just following up from the open house, wanted to check in, see how you're doing. If there's any questions or I can show you anything else." And then you hit them with a bomb, an hour later in KV Core. It gives you a quick way to hit them on phone. And if they dial back, it'll dial your cell phone.
So And then Glenn, I'll bet you're a master at organizing your KV core groups and hashtags. But for me, like I've been spending probably an hour a week trying to just get my whole mind share into Google Drive in a logical, retrievable fashion, so I don't have to look for stuff, because it aggravates me when I have to. What did I name that document? Where do I find it? You know, a lot of times people will call me and say, "Hey, Rob, I need to borrow your Bright MLS login." Now I have it saved as a text message. I just copy paste it, send it out. It's so easy. I don't have to on my phone go to my Google Drive, look it up, figure out how to copy it. That takes like 2 or 3 minutes or 5 minutes. It's just highly annoying, and I'm just working on improving those efficiencies. You know, migration patterns for you know, bringing people into our areas and networking with people in different areas. Monmouth County to Staten Island. A lot of people from Staten Island moved to Monmouth County. Network with agents over there. Agent to agent referrals. You know, let's plant our trees and start geofarming now to harvest some of those listings. You know, it's not going to happen right away. Budget some money, get it done. You know, pick your vendor, and let's just kick that off. Anybody have anything else that they need to share that is maybe overlooked or something that nobody knows about that you utilize?
Rob, it's Maurice. I found out that KV Core and Dot Loop link together.
Okay.
So that was kind of cool. And it also links together with Zillow.
All right, we'll have to talk about that as we work on our rollout. Anybody have anything else you want to share?
Just RedX, Rob. Again, with RedX, we have the geo leads, the FISBOs, and the expireds now for the agents. So if anybody wants to here in South Florida want to work the geo leads or FISBO and expires, let me know.
Fantastic. And you know, I'm going to just wrap this up by just saying, like, if we could maybe even lean into our what did I call it? Our stakeholders, right? I think our affiliates are a little bit overutilized, like other people that have a stake in our success to help us become more successful. And, you know, that might mean an attorney or a home inspector helping out with an event, either by appearing or giving us a little bit of financial support and being a stakeholder, because as we do better, they do better. You know, I'm looking forward.
Rob, what if like we have a attorney for our title company, we have terrific mortgage people, both in Florida and New Jersey. What if they did a little video for us every once in a while that we could send out to our sphere?
Maybe what we can do, Colleen, is
video of information, you know?
So Colleen, maybe what we could do is we could take some of our key stakeholders, right, and invite them to this peer-to-peer and, just ask them, hey, we're looking to grow together. What can we do to help each other grow?
Oh, I think that's a great idea.
And get a panel of people that, that we look at as, trusted referral sources, trusted partners to help us deliver that experience that we want our clients to have, right? Why should we be burdened with the entire cost of capturing those leads?
Absolutely, especially because we're going to share it with them.
Yeah, I mean, like, my whole theory when I was a loan originator back in the early 90s was the whole industry were like vultures. Like the lenders would buy people lunch and schmooze, but they had no value, right? They didn't contribute to the business generation, and they'd wait and say, Colleen, do you have a sale for me? Do you have a sale for me? And, that to me was a broken business model. It's like, how can we work together to get more sales? So, if you were in the jungle, it's like waiting for the realtor to make the kill. Then you come to the event with a knife and a fork and nothing else. Say, hey, I'm going to eat here. Like, that doesn't work. And that was always the visual I had at an early age, and I thought it was completely broken. And I don't know that it's necessarily the people that we work with are looking to take advantage of us. I just think they don't know how they can contribute and help us to grow together. So that will be one of our upcoming peer-to-peer groups. And any other, go ahead.
Rob, it's Maurice. Speaking exactly what you just said, StreamYard is a website that I use when I go. I don't know if you guys are familiar with it, but if you guys are interested in doing social media, what it does is it allows you to go live on multiple platforms and you can interview people. So for instance, let's say we're doing this right now. Everybody's speaking, we could be live on Facebook, Instagram, and I wanted to say YouTube. So we can be live on those 3 things right now.
Fantastic.
Could you put that in the chat, please?
I put it on this document, Colleen. Everybody has it as well. So the chat will disappear.
StreamYard is huge.
Thanks, Rob.
And if you need a teleprompter, use Big View.
Hey, Rob,
Yeah.
who was the realtor that's in Florida that said that they work expireds?
Was that Eric Pruitt? Eric, was that you?
I didn't say it. That was on there, but I do work expired, though.
I think when I was mentioning RedX, we have the expired program, FSBOs, and the GeoLeads. If you want to learn how to use it, call me. I'll send you the video that I gave a class with a couple weeks ago.
Okay, Ron.
For those of you to participate with Ron, at least in 1 or 2 of his sessions, just to freshen up would be a great idea. He does a terrific job of it.
Okay.
Thanks, Colleen.
And one more thing I wanted to mention, Rob, today, since you were mentioning, talking to an attorney or having an attorney present, there's going to be a webinar to ask attorneys questions. It's like a live Q&A. I just put it on the chat if anyone's interested.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that, Carmen. And let me see. You know, my Google chat is like, I can't even, it's like 3 letters per. Can somebody put it on the document I shared? Or Carmen, can you put it on the document I shared?
Sure.
And for everybody in Florida, I'm arriving on Saturday, and I'll be there Saturday. I think it's the 11th through the 16th. On Saturday and Sunday, I will be doing prospecting activities. If you want, either calling or door knocking on those dates. And we have our award celebration. If you didn't see the email, for anybody that qualified for any ReMax awards, we're having an event in our West Delray office for executive 100% and platinum club recipients on Monday from 12 to 3, a catered event. And for chairmans and Titan, we're doing a dinner. So please keep that in mind if you want to do prospecting. This is a Ron or Eric question, or actually anybody, but in terms of prospecting for expireds and FSBOs, and especially FSBOs, if you were to call somebody and they, what's one of the questions that they almost always ask you when you're in that conversation?
For a FSBO?
Yeah, for FSBO.
Well, they don't usually ask too many questions. I mean, we start out with a simple script, which we practice, and then what I tell the agents is to make it their own and keep it in front of them in case they throw some objections. But normally when we talk to the for sale by owners, they always tell us, well, we're not using an agent at this time. And then what I say to them, well, if it doesn't sell in 2 weeks or 3 weeks, whatever, would you consider working with an agent? And most of them say yes, probably. And now, because of the way the market is, it's beginning to open up a little bit.
So, but Ron, what is the other question that they always ask on the phone that's awkward?
How much is your commission?
How much is your commission? Thank you, Ron. What if we, originally I didn't like this idea. I used it a couple of times to get appointments scheduled. I didn't follow up with the agents I set them for, but if you were to say, look, we have a variable scale, it ranges from 1 to 7%. When would be a good time to review it? And my concept would be, I would be prepared to take a list of a FSBO's, all the people that looked at their house that didn't put an offer in and say, look, if I can get somebody that saw your house that said they might be interested, I can give them comparable sales and convince them that your home is the right house for them. I will charge you only a 1% fee to manage that transaction and put the contract together. Now, a couple of things would happen. One is, you get a list of, you probably will get more appointments. You'll probably get a list of people that saw the house that maybe don't like it, that you could sell them something else. Some of those people that are looking for houses probably have houses to sell, right? And if by chance you had actually got a name of somebody that was interested in the house, you put the contract together, you got the market share, you made 1%, and you now have something to mail and talk about, that's not the end of the world either. Does anybody hate that concept or that talk track, or does anybody think it's something worth, developing and presenting?
I think it's a really good idea.
Like it, yeah.
I would try more than 1% though.
Yeah. Well, I think the 1% is getting in the door. That's kind of, yeah, especially the idea of getting other people, other clients from it, like you said.
You could even say 2%.
Great lead system for 1%.
But I think Eric, 2% people think you bring me a buyer, I'll give you 2%. I think there's a lot of that going on. I think 1% has a wow factor.
I agree.
But I don't want, I'm here to serve the group, and I'm here just to present different ideas. So the last question I have before we wrap it up, because I believe we're 13 minutes over. Would you like to see the stakeholder session in 2 weeks, or the FSBO expired session in 2 weeks, and push the stakeholders third week?
For me personally, FSBOs, because I haven't really done FSBOs in like probably at least a year, because it was just kind of a waste of time this past year. Everything was selling. So it was like, they really didn't get it, an opportunity to even get to hiring a realtor unless they were massively overpriced or something. So I'm kind of looking at, especially with the way the market is right now, FSBOs making a little bit of a comeback. And
I agree 100%.
Pricing idea as well, and it definitely perks their ears up, the variable commission thing.
Now, is everybody on here getting my bombs, or is it going to their spam or some other inbox?
I'm getting it in my primary box.
Okay, so if you can maybe save that as a contact and mark it not as spam, we're getting probably about a 65-70% open rate. Maybe the people who aren't here don't even want it, which is fine, but I just want to make sure that you have access to it. Went to spam.
I don't even know what bomb is.
So are you getting my video invitations to join these calls with my little video, Mickey, or no?
Not with the video, but I'm just getting the normal invite.
Not the video.
Oops. Are you still can you still hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I hear you.
Okay, so I'm not sending out regular videos anymore. I'm sending them out through BombBomb, their video. And a lot of times, because they're coming through a third-party service, it's going into spam. So if you're not getting it, mark it as not spam, or put it into your inbox.
So Rob, you sent one out this morning? I just want to go look in my spam.
Yeah, one went out this morning and one went out, I believe, on Saturday or Friday.
So Rob, if BombBomb's getting sent into to spam, what is the use of using it?
It's not BombBomb that's sending
Rob,
it to spam.
my screen. I'm showing it right now.
Yeah. Okay, there it is. There's my little video there.
Okay.
All right. So Eric, I guess all emails can wind up in people's spam boxes. So if people mark them as not spam, we'll have a higher engagement level, is my belief. But I'm not the email marketing specialist. So please just try to open them up. And if it's something that's relevant to you, hop on.
Rob, I have a question for the group. I'm curious. I want to do a virtual open house, and during COVID, they were popular. People were logging on. Now, I don't know that it's as popular. Is there any way to market it better to get more people to want to log on to see one?
Anybody have any feedback on that?
Yeah. Hey, Scott, give me a ring when you want to talk. It's probably a longer discussion than we have here.
All right. Thank you.
So, yeah, can you put virtual open house links on Zillow?
You're not allowed to have any branding on Zillow. So you can have videos, but it can't be branded.
Okay.
I'm sorry, actually, that was MLS. Zillow, you can. I'm sorry, I just got corrected.
You know what we'll do for one of these is I'll have our Zillow rep on here. Would anybody want to have our Zillow rep and ask questions to somebody on Zillow on what we can do?
Heck yes.
Good idea too.
Yes. Okay.
Absolutely.
Zillow rep. This is a lot of fun. I love you guys. We're contributing and learning. Tony, you have something?
Yeah, the other thing is that the Fishbone expired. That's a great idea to have it and to go deep in it, because that's, what we call the low hanging fruits. There's a lot of business there to be done. So the better we are, the more business we'll get.
Fantastic. So I personally love crafting and testing my scripts. So I'm abnormal in that concept. So I'll look to do that. Tony, if you want, when I'm down there on Saturday and Sunday, I believe it's not this weekend, but the following weekend, hit me up on a text message or an email, and we'll set some time aside either to knock or to do some calls, and I'll see if it works.
Okay.
All right.
Sure.
And if you're in New Jersey and you want to do the calling, the weather's still not predictable enough for door knocking. I'll probably do that, in March. But if you want to do some prospect calling in New Jersey, just hit me up, and we'll block 2-4 hours and do it as a small group.
Oh,
all right.
Okay.
And yeah, so this is fantastic. You guys give me great inspiration and ideas to deliver content. So have a productive week. Hopefully we can keep at least 50 people showing up here. Maybe we can get 100 and keep sharing ideas. Thank you, everybody.
Excuse me, Rob.
Yes. I'll stay on for any questions, but everybody else, if you want to go, I want to try to get you off at a reasonable amount of time, but go ahead. Questions?
Yes, sorry, Rob. Can you send us the list of all the things you wrote down?
It's already sent out. I put it in the chat, and I will send it out. I'll send it out to everybody with the next. I'll put it online on the abundance in real estate under this video. That's probably the easiest way to do it, because if I put the list with the next one, it's not going to be relative to that material. Does everybody know how to get to the YouTube channel?
No.
So it's abundance in real estate. There's a link on the bottom of the here, let me show you guys. This is the easiest way to get to it. You click here, previous mastermind recordings on the BombBomb link, right? You got this video link, right? You click here on the bottom, previous masterminds. It takes you over here, and hopefully this has the link to the document that I reviewed on the bottom of it. There it is, Sequence for Success. Okay. And it wouldn't kill you. It wouldn't kill you when you come here to hit that you like the video. Okay. It wouldn't kill anybody. I understand that doesn't hurt. So
Are those videos dated so we know which one?
Yes, there you click on here. And it goes, so this is the one that we did last
Oh, January.
Friday.
Yeah, I see the date. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you.
Rob,
So,
this
yes.
is Deborah. You didn't send me the information for the agent that had the letter for mailings? The contact information.
Oh, you mean from Lori Caruso from the peer-to-peer, the one about the farm, this lady?
Yes, we were
I'll send-
talking to.
I'll send that to you.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody have any other questions?
When do you record these?
So they're recorded right now, they get processed and they're up by the following business morning. So they should be up by 9 o'clock tomorrow. And Maurice, there's an occasional time when the person that does the editing is off or their internet is down. So it might be a 48-hour turn time, but the goal is to have it up by the next business day.
Rob, does your email that you send out with the bonbon, does that come from your email? Like, should I do a search? Because I'm not.
So if you do a search that says mastermind or rlazars at remax.net. And I want to make one other observation here. Let's see here, Deborah. I am now the acting broker for the Westfield office at about 90 agents. Okay. And we're transitioning to a new permanent manager for that office, and a big shout out to Rob Durso for helping out while we're filling the vacancy. But I'm shocked at how few questions I get on how to keep a deal alive or structure a deal that I feel like I could be of more value if you were to ask questions. And what I mean by this is there's one of our top agents that had a transaction that was one of those transactions that kept taking all your time and resources. And we got down to the end, and this lady was selling a house, needed 30 days to find a new house, had to pay off some judgments, and didn't have enough money to post a security deposit plus her rent, plus have money to get a rental, right? So we're 3 or 4 days from the closing and the deal is dying because the buyer is like, I'm not going to let this lady stay in there without any money. The lady saying, I can't sell the house if I don't have money to put a security deposit and rent down. So this agent was a chairman's plus producer, over $500,000 in GCI. I just made the suggestion, why don't the two realtors put half their commission in escrow? When she moves out, they get it back instead of the client, and the deal closed. For me, it was so easy. And this is an agent that does, you know, massive volume that sometimes you just can't see the forest through the trees. So I just want to put myself out there. If you have any questions or you need any advice, you know, lean into our leadership team to get those tips and advice. All right. So I think everybody good with questions? All right. Have a great week. I look forward to co-hosting with Scott and Glenn on this open house peer-to-peer learning. And then the following week, we're going to do the FSBO expired perfection presentation, or at least I'll try to get as close to it as I can to it. Have a great week, everybody.